What are you doing?
I'm running these wires from the church over to my house.
We already have a wire going from the church to your house.
We do?
Yes. It's called a telephone. You can call there anytime you want to.
No, you don't understand. See, I don't want to talk. I want to listen.
You want to listen?
Yes.
To what?
Well, it occurred to me that I'm only in church 1 hour per week.
2 hours per week, if you come to Bible study.
Yes, well, what I mean is, what if God speaks and no one is here to listen?
I'll bet you lay awake nights thinking about these things, don't you?
Last night, for instance. I thought, if there's 168 hours per week and we're only in church 1 or 2 of those hours, we have only a slim chance of being here when God speaks to us. So, I thought I'd increase the chances of hearing His voice.
Tell me, have you ever heard the voice of God?
Well, no, of course not. And now I know why. I'm only here in church about an hour per week. The odds are against me. That's why I'm running intercom wires to my house.
Have you ever heard of people hearing the audible voice of God?
Well, actually, I've only heard of one. He was in the state mental hospital. He had on one of those canvas jackets with the long sleeves that tie behind his back with the...
A straight jacket?
Yes. That's it. He had on a straight jacket.
Doesn't that tell you anything?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Doesn't it strike you as odd that the only person you know who claims to have heard the voice of God is a mental patient?
Oh. I never thought about it like that.
Perhaps before you go to all the trouble and expense of wiring the church for sound, you should find out if God really communicates with His people like that.
Oh, I'm sure He does.
How can you be so sure?
Well, people say things. People say God told me to do this or that. Experts write books on hearing God's voice. I'm sure somebody must be able to hear God's voice.
But the only people you know who claim to hear an audible voice are locked up in the booby hatch.
Are you saying that wiring the church for sound might be a waste of time?
Probably.
Well, how come people write books about hearing God's voice? I saw a book that cost $22.50 on hearing God's voice.
If I wrote a book for $50, would it be more convincing for you?
Oh. I see.
What do you see?
Just because people say it doesn't make it true.
Bravo.
How do you know if it's true, then?
Have you ever read in the Bible any incidents of people hearing the audible voice of God?
At Jesus' baptism.
At the very beginning of His ministry. What about later?
There's a voice in the book of Revelation.
That's the end times. Nothing in between.
Well, there was Paul on the road to Damascus. Oh, but he was blind. No telling what he might have seen.
Anything else?
I don't know. I don't read the Bible that much.
You should. The Bible is called the Word of God.
Oh. I guess pretty much everything we need to know is right there, huh?
Pretty much.
Probably be a lot less sitting around waiting to hear something that way, huh?
A lot less.
Say, you wouldn't happen to know anyone who wants to buy 14,000 feet of wire, would you?
Not offhand.
Based on a play by Bob Snook. Conditions for use: do not sell any part of this script, even if you rewrite it. Pay no royalties, even if you make money from performances.
You may reproduce and distribute this script freely, but all copies must contain this copyright statement.